Welcome to Roadcase, the podcast that explores the live music experience. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Josh Rosenberg, and I'll be taking you on a journey through in-depth interviews with performers and key people in the industry to explore the magic of live music, how it can be totally transformative for both fans and performers, and we'll look at how they take it all out on the road. It's going to be a great ride, so here we go. Hey everyone, this is Josh Rosenberg. Welcome back to Roadcase. I'm really psyched to have you here for this really special episode with a band that I really love. And I want to remind you to get involved with the Roadcase community. And there's a couple ways you can do that. You're welcome to send me an email if something comes up. If you have a question or want to make a comment, suggestion for guests, I'm at info@roadcasepod.com. You can also get involved with the Roadcase community over at Patreon, where you can help support this podcast by throwing a couple bucks in per month. Really helps out this podcast and allows us to continue to produce these episodes, bringing you these great guests and letting you know what's going on in the live music world every week, twice a week, as a matter of fact. So you can also follow us on social media at Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Our handle is Roadcase Pod, and we have a YouTube channel called Roadcase Podcast, which is a coincidence because that's the name of this podcast. And you can, as you know, you can find this podcast on your favorite listening platform. Another way that you can help support this podcast is you can rate and review this podcast on your platform. In fact, if you're listening to it right now, if you put it on pause and go ahead and rate and or review this podcast, that would be an awesome way to support us. So I'm really excited to welcome Daniel Womack and Carter King of Futurebirds this week. Futurebirds is originally from Athens, Georgia, although they're kind of spread out all over the southeast. Now they're a hardworking touring band, and they love getting in front of their fans and playing shows. And that's sort of the way that they've built their own momentum over the years. And they're really known for high energy, interactive type of shows, and they really feed off the energy of the audience, and the audience really feeds off of the energy of the band. These guys say that their comfort zone is on stage, and to go to one of their shows is to really understand that vibe. I've done that. I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, COVID's a tough time. We talk about their transition off the road and what that looked like. They had a partnership with Teton Gravity Research for their spring 2020 tour, which was obviously canceled. So that was disappointing for them. But these guys have a great mental attitude. They take that kind of positive energy that they exude on stage, and it really sort of permeates everything that they do. They're really kind of in a positive space as I see it. They have some new material. They talk about that. I believe that they're going into a rehearsal space to hear them say it, to kind of work on that new material right now. They had been playing some backyard party shows. And so we'll talk about how they're getting in front of their fans even during this time in hopefully a safe manner. And we'll talk about that a little bit. And of course, we'll get some good stories from the road from these guys. They seem to have a fun time, and they've got a really good mental attitude. Carter talks about how, that kind of tour depression can creep in, and the ways that they use and the techniques that they use to kind of help when those kind of issues come about. So we do talk about the mental health of touring in general, but these guys are, doing a lot of great things during this COVID period. I really enjoyed talking with them. They got a great energy. They're really moving in the right direction. And to hear them talk about it, this COVID period was pretty good to them. They were very productive, and they've been interacting with their fans online and in backyard party environments, which is only a positive for these guys. So I'm excited for the future of Futurebirds. This is a really fun episode with these boys, and thanks again for joining me on Roadcase. Thanks again to Daniel Womack and Carter King of Futurebirds for being here, and here we go. Okay, guys, so Carter, Womack, how are you guys doing, man? Thanks so much for being here on Roadcase. I really appreciate it.
Man, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
Doing great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So where are you all joining me from? I'll say y'all. I don't know. I can't sound. I'm from Southern California. I can't sound natural saying y'all.
It sounds natural, man.
It rolled
really
right off your tongue. That was great.
It did,
Yeah.
right? But then I say to myself, wait, these guys say it all the time, and I always want to say cheers, y'all, and it just doesn't.
Hey,
I don't know.
You're in good company, man.
Yeah, we know you're just trying to make us feel more comfortable, and we appreciate that.
Yes, that is it. That is it. Yes, exactly. So where are y'all? But you both in different locations. Where are you? All.
Now it's getting weirder.
I'm at my house in Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
In my music room. Yeah.
Yeah, Carter, where are you?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. My house. We're in the middle of an onsetting ice storm right now. It's like
oh wow.
Yeah, it's like snowy. It's been just sleeting. Yeah, might be late to that demo session, Womack.
Oh man, we'll just have it there. Go to Nashville.
Well, I'm glad I could get you guys together to coordinate that kind of stuff. But so, because I haven't said this personally to you, happy 10th anniversary. It's kind of belated, but
thanks, man.
That's all kinds of awesome, and I love the latest record. How, I mean, we're just in the midst of this shitstorm, snowstorm and a shitstorm. I'm in Chicago, so it's snowing here. But
yeah, the
COVID shitstorm, man. How'd you guys both keep your heads in the game on this thing when this thing hit and you had the new album and you are renowned touring impresarios and legends, basically. Like, how'd that affect the vibe in the band?
It slowed things down a bit for a minute, but
yeah, really.
So we had just released Teamwork, and we were set to. We had a big tour planned, and the whole merch situation set up, and it was going to be the biggest headlining tour that we had probably ever been on at the time, and still, but it was day 2 and the pandemic hit and we had to cancel it right there and drive. We had just driven all the way across the country to Colorado and played our second show of the tour that was going to take us about 3.5 weeks or a month. And the pandemic hit, so we drove back across the country, and it was terrible, man. We didn't know what. It was, like everyone, we didn't know what was going on. And that was at the time to where it was like, you might not even know if you've got it for 14 days. So we're sitting there, we were in Aspen the night before, and of course, we wake up the next day and it's like new COVID hotbed in Colorado, Aspen, and we're like, oh gosh, so now we could have it. And we're driving all the way across the country and we're not going to know for another week and a half after this if we've even got it. And we're hungover, so we feel bad anyway.
Yeah, it screwed with our heads for a little bit there for this couple days.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, from a personal standpoint, but also kind of from just a band standpoint. I mean, everyone took a hit psychologically and everything with this, but I'm sorry that happened to you guys on this particular tour. Was that the tour where you were sponsored by TGR? Was that the TGR
that
tour?
Was the one,
Teton Gravity Research.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I'm familiar with it because I'm a skier. So
nice.
Was that kind of a tie-in with that video on the website? Because I know that was Wyoming and they're based in Jackson.
Well, we were on the Howlin' Summer Tour last June, and that took us to. Actually, that's not where it kicked off, but we were on the Howlin' Summer Tour. We went up through Jackson, had a great time, and and then later we got on tour with a band called Camp, who we're great friends with now.
Yeah.
And that first show with Camp, we kicked it off in Jackson Hole, and the TGR crew came out and we did some just filming and just from behind the scenes kind of photography and stuff, and had a great time, and we just kicked it off with them. And so the next Triple Black Diamond tour that we were scheduling was the one that got canceled, and we had they had sponsored it, from meeting them and everything from the camp tour. So yeah,
Right.
that was going to be super cool too. That's another bummer about the situation.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff happens. But what was kind of the Carter? What was sort of the beginning of that sort of relationship, and what was sort of the thinking there
The beginning of the relationship with TGR.
with TGR? Yeah.
So yeah, we have some friends that work there, and really, yeah, like Womack was talking about, the previous summer we'd done a tour in conjunction with Howler Brothers, which is the outdoor brand fishing stuff, and so I think what we built there, we kind of had a template for, like, hey, we can do this thing and it's mutually beneficial, and so we were able to kind of show that to him as a sort of a framework, but. I mean, for any company like that that's just already got such a huge reach to want to, put a little backing behind a band like us, we're just stoked and happy to do it. And I think it's, maybe our just general energy and appreciation of getting outdoors and just trying to entertain ourselves really when we're on tour and, in beautiful places.
Yeah, I was going to ask. It seems like a logical tie. And Womack, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say like minds with common visions, So, and the Howland Summer Tour, that was the first collaboration, and then the TGR thing, we collabed on that, and it was going to be the beginning of a beautiful relationship, But
Yeah.
Well, it can still.
it's not lost.
Yeah.
Definitely
no
not.
way.
Yeah.
No, it's a logical collaboration. Did you face any criticism of getting involved with a big company like that?
No.
I wouldn't say not any negative critic. No, definitely not. People were pretty stoked about it.
Yeah.
We're like, that's awesome. That's awesome. And like, that was kind of, as outdoor enthusiasts ourselves, we were stoked too. We were like, man. And I remember, it's funny, it had to have been at least 5 years ago. Carter came to me and he was talking about this idea he had where he wanted to kind of like, get in with these like fly fishing magazines and stuff like that, and like they could use our songs, do promo videos. And I must admit, at the time, it didn't really make much sense to me. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, we like to do all that kind of stuff, but it didn't make sense to me at the time. But then over time, every tour we go on, we find ourselves seeking outdoor adventures. We've got off time. There's a waterfall. Let's go jump off of it or something like that. And I was thinking that we don't really showcase that side of the band that much, so we kind of started doing that. I was like, that's what we love to do. We should showcase that and bring our fans on our adventures with us, and once that started happening, once we kind of just started being ourselves more on camera and introducing that aspect to the fans, things just started falling into place, like the Howler Brothers collaboration and stuff like that. And then fast forward 5 years, and I was like, man, Carter had this idea the whole time. Like, I get it now. Yeah.
Yeah, Carter, you're laughing.
He probably
Does that happen-
he probably doesn't remember the story I'm talking about. He's probably like, yeah, that's probably true. But
No,
Does that happen a lot
I
with
think
you guys?
it's not like it's it's just like these collective things that you just keep talking about them, and we're all talking about the same thing. It's just like, I don't know, it's intention or something. It just, you talk about stuff enough and stick with this thing long enough, then yeah, it's all bound to come together.
Yeah, it becomes sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy sometimes, and then opportunities present themselves, and you're like, ding, that works, right? But it does sort of come into the vibe that you guys have, that you guys kind of seem to live by. I mean, you're constantly on the road, so is that? I mean, you have been. 2020 is a lost year, right? I mean, more or less. Although I want to talk about some of the stuff that you guys have been doing over 2020, but in terms of just being on the road and touring, that seems to be just ingrained in the Futurebirds philosophy. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I mean, I think the core what drives this band is the community we've built around it, and the only way we build that is going out and meeting people, and that's playing shows. And we're not, if you don't want to rely on like a big hit or a big publication to make you a big band, then you just have to go out and do it, person by person. And we're in a lucky spot that we really enjoy doing that, and you have to work, and you have to be intentional about making sure it stays enjoyable, because it can be totally taxing, totally grueling, but so can, digging ditches. So.
Sitting at a desk all day too, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
You say that, and that can be also sort of the business case of a band, right? You got to be out there on the road. You want to see your fans, but you do. I mean, really, you want to make the connection. And I've seen you guys play. I was at one of those, both of those camp shows at Thalia Hall in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
Among other times, and you guys just like, you feel it, that there's an energy always there with you when you're on the stage, between you and the crowd. And I go to a lot of shows, I see a lot of different bands, and it's super unique when you guys are playing, and I got to applaud you for that. But where does that come from? Woms, you're out there, you're leading the fucking charge a lot, although Carter might be beg to differ. I don't know.
No,
is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a symbiotic relationship for sure, but it's just something that I mean, we've been a band for 12 years, and I guess our comfort zone is on stage, and we're really grateful we're lucky that we're all kind of friends before we were in the band. So there were many, many years where there weren't many people in the crowd. So it's like we were kind of almost just playing to ourselves anyway. So, I mean, so as long as, I mean, it's like, touring over, even in the, what I like to refer to as the dog days of our touring, where it was just like, grinding it out on the road. It was the one spot, or the one time during the day where everything made sense was when we were all on stage, and that happened for years. So I mean, we're comfortable on stage, and once the crowd started singing the words and started, once places started filling up, and it just kind of all happened really naturally. It was just this whole community started building, and when we're there, it's really, I mean, on the best nights, it's kind of effortless. It just happens.
When was that a slow evolution for you guys? When did that kind of start, Carter?
When
people kind
of what?
Yeah, when Wom said that it was just sort of something that began to build over time. When did you sort of feel that starting? Like, when was that a slow kind of development for you guys?
So we were lucky enough to where, like, when we play in Athens, it just for whatever reason, like the perfect storm of, the groups of friends that we all kind of had an outreach to between us. But I feel like, and just Athens, Georgia in general is one of the best places to start a band. So our first show as Futurebirds, we were opening up for Dr. Dog at Tasty World, and the place was packed and people were into it.
Not too bad.
And I remember we looked up and we're like looking around at each other like, what the hell is going on? This isn't supposed to happen. This is great. People were going wild. And there was one guy's head was sticking, above everyone else's. And we were playing a song we'd never played before. And he was singing along. He was like trying his best. And we're like, this dude's already singing along. Like, I don't even know the words to this song. But then you go out on tour, and you're playing in the Midwest or wherever else, and you're playing a lot of shows where no one's showing up on a Wednesday or whatever. So if you keep that in the back of your mind, what it can be, then when you're on stage opening up for camp at Thalia Hall to a packed room that's just like so into it, you can't help but be in that moment and be like, just, throttle down,
Right. Yeah. After playing out for so long to hardly anyone, like, you put us on stage with camp, and it was easy. Exactly. That because their fans are so devoted and everyone's so excited to be there. It's not a job at that point. It just happens,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people were there to see you guys, but was that like a great? You mentioned camp. Was that just because I mentioned that, or was that really like you enjoyed that? That was kind of a special tour for you guys?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I brought camp up because you were asking how the TGR relationship or sponsorship kind of collab kind of started, and it was the first show of the camp tour was in Jackson Hole, and we teamed up with TGR just to kind of do some photos and just film the show and document it, and we just had a great time with them, kicked it off or hit it off with them, and then decided to collab on the ski tour. So that's kind of how that happened. But, it was funny because there was a few years we didn't really have any big opening. Sorry, let me get closer. Any opening tour spots, we're like, at the time in our touring career, we felt like it was time to kind of get back on with a big band. You know, it was like, it's been a while since we've had an opening spot, and camp kind of fell into our lap. I can't honestly remember how. And I just remember, they're like, we're going to go on tour with this band called Camp. And I was like, I don't think I've heard of them, but okay. And it was awesome. That was one of the best tours in recent memory, really. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Hit it right off with those guys. Great dudes. And we love their music. It was a great time, man.
Yeah, no, it came about because they were just fans of the band, you know, from like slogging it out or whatever. They had come,
right.
they had a day off. They
Forgot about that.
They had a day off on tour. I think we were in Seattle. Yeah, and they came to this show.
Tractor Tavern.
Or it was what's the even smaller place? Sunset.
Right.
Sunset Tavern, I think. Tiny spot.
Can't help you there.
And they just happened to come out to a show because they were bored and they hadn't heard of the band and became fans. And so yeah, that was just pure cosmic alignment there.
Yeah, and speaking of that show I distinctly remember that show being I wouldn't say a turning point, but a memorable show, because we sold that show out. And I remember thinking, I was like, man, we haven't sold out a show in a while, especially this far away from home. And the camp boys were like, yeah, we were like the last tickets that night, and we weren't going to drink.
Oh, they put you over the top.
Yeah, they were like, we weren't going to drink or anything. You know, we were just we had a night off. We were going to, I've heard of Futurebirds. We're going to go check them out. And we bought the last few tickets. And as soon as we walked in and saw y'all, we were like, all right, we're going to get a beer.
Right. Yeah. You can't help but do that. I mean, you're drinking half the time during the show anyway, right? I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We can say like a bad thing, right?
Sometimes we drink most of the time.
So coming out of Athens, is that where you guys met initially?
It is indeed, yeah.
Yes.
The core four met in Athens. The core four members of the band. Me and
you've
Carter
had a couple.
Thompson. Yeah.
Yeah, you had a couple of different band members. You had didn't you have a different drummer at one point?
Yeah, Peytonius.
Peytonius was our first drummer, and still a really good friend of ours. He's now a successful lawyer in Nashville, entertainment lawyer. And then our second drummer, Johnny Colorado Lundock, great guy. Still keep in touch with him too. And then our most recent drummer was Ches. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you guys just really run through drummers. What do you do? Make them? They do all the shit work when you guys are on tour, or what?
It's tough being a drummer, man.
Yeah, really. Apparently, for the Futurebirds, that's a tough job.
It is.
I thought it'd be tough singing, man.
None of these bastards can keep time. I'm out of here.
Yeah, right.
I'm a fucking human metronome, and these guys are just like making it just too hard. It's you guys' fault.
Yeah.
So was Athens sort of instrumental in? Did it play into your attitude of loving to be on the road because you're in proximity to so many different, fairly close proximity to so many different towns where you can go and play, like Birmingham, Nashville, Asheville, Memphis, etc. Is it kind of a good central location? Did that play into how you guys sort of developed as a touring band?
Yeah, for the Southeast, absolutely. There's so many small college towns, cities, and it's pretty easy to get anywhere. But Athens was more instrumental than just its geographical location, but just, I mean, obviously its history precedes itself and everything. But like the clubs, it's just such a supportive scene, so that you have an up and coming band, and you're always hanging out at the 40 Watt of the Georgia Theater, and you get to know the people that are the bartenders and the people booking shows, and then they get a national act through, and they're happy to support the smaller bands in town and give them shots in front of crowds. So that's the way in which it's mostly instrumental in building the band, I think.
Yeah. Well, same. You have that same kind of view of it?
Yeah, for sure. It's a very welcoming, very creative environment, very welcoming to creativity in any way. And so it's a great place to start a band because of what Carter said. It's just easy to get gigs. There's a lot of bands come through there, and It's got, you know, some of the best clubs in the country, in our opinion. And it was, I mean, I can't imagine starting a band if we wouldn't be where we are now if we didn't start in Athens. That's just the way it is, for sure. You know?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. It was something in the water there. You know, it's like it's just a very creative and welcoming environment. You know, yeah, for sure.
Well, to say that you wouldn't be a band if you weren't from there, I mean, that's kind of it's like you are from there and you are a band and you are from Athens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good environment. It's an excellent environment musically.
Absolutely. Very influential environment. And just, it's like an I feel like our time in Athens was kind of like an incubation period, you know, where we just kind of like, we learned a lot, you know, in Athens.
Right.
Yeah. And also like in a bigger city, like say Chicago or Atlanta, you know, or Nashville even, you have these like kind of little sequestered zones and scenes. And so, but Athens, everything's just like right on top of each other. So, you know, the frat houses are right next to the rock clubs and the dance clubs and the college bars and the, you know, the art galleries and stuff. So it's just like everyone's forced to be exposed to everyone else. And I think that makes for a better melting pot, you know? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Just rowdier, I guess, right?
Yeah,
For sure.
So.
There's a rowdy
Plays
spot.
into the Futurebirds ethos a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think so.
I mean, I read you guys did a 3D show in 2010.
Yeah.
Is that fucking true?
3D radio.
It is.
Like, did no one tell you that we are in 3D? I mean, is that just sort of like, what? Wait, 3D?
We were a little ahead of our time.
What was that about?
We were just
right. You guys discovered that we have depth, height, and width.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
It was you know, the idea was better than it was than it played out to be in reality. But it was still a great time. Did you say you were at that show, Josh?
No,
okay.
I just said I read about it.
Yeah. So we had a big sheet that we put in front of the stage, and everyone that got in, they bought a ticket.
If I was at that show, I probably wouldn't be talking to you.
Well, everyone there got, you know, they got the 3D glasses, and it was totally DIY. This was, you know, I don't know if they even make cameras that can do this kind of thing now. They probably do, but either way, we had guys going around with they had filters on their cameras, like I think a red and a blue one, and then it was projected on the screen.
We had two projectors just kind of stacked on top of each other, slightly offset. They were colorized, But that goes back to the whole Athens thing too. It's just like you could try.
That's
some
the place
weird
to be
ideas,
bold.
You know, it's just like 3D rodeo.
Wait,
that
that's what
sounds like the name is hilarious. So let's see what we can do. You know.
Yeah.
You guys are stopping right there. That's all I'm getting is just the two cameras stacked on top.
No,
of each other.
It's
What
okay.
else?
So we had a screen at the front of the stage. We had people filming behind the stage, and they were projecting it. Yeah, this totally bootleg DIY 3D experience on the screen. We probably made it through 3 or 4 songs before the crowd was screaming, "Tear it down, tear it down, tear it down." So we took the screen down and just played the rest of the show. But
I remember looking at one of the.
You know,
I somehow think like Industrial Light and Magic should know about this and sort of, but so it was supposed to be almost like a hologram kind of concept for those that were in attendance would sort of see like these interesting 3D in your mind that they would have seen like some hologram-ish sort of stuff going on. Is that what it is?
Yeah. And then everyone's just hanging out the 40 watt wearing 3D glasses, and you know, it's just like we're like, man, that'd be like a strange psychedelic thing if we could pull that off. You know, like I don't know. People were just like trying shit in Athens. That's when My Morning Jacket came through, and they did their Under the Sea prom for 2 nights at the 40 watt. This is like right before they like just really took off and were playing theaters and arenas. And I don't know, Athens is just a nice place to just take a swing, you know.
stretch your legs a little bit.
Definitely.
So how have you guys been just in terms of trying to get that on the road and get and be in front of your fans and make that sort of connection during this time? Backyard parties, how is that going? Where's that at right now?
Still swinging. We're booking March right now, and it's starting to kind of kick back up. The January and February mostly have been, you know, pretty slow, but they usually are. They usually tend to be But the backyard parties they're amazing. They started off slow last year, but then, people kind of got familiar with the idea and the concept, and it's almost better than a real show now, because every time we play one, the host says something along those lines, like, man, this is actually better than a real show. Like, we get the Futurebirds in our backyard and just all of our best friends come, and we just it's like you pay to go downtown and have to deal with everything that goes with going downtown. And most of our fans are they've got places luckily for us to actually host us, so we're lucky in that regard, I guess, as well. But it's been great though, man. It's an amazing experience. It's almost like, why didn't we just do this before, maybe? And it's definitely something that we're gonna keep doing, even when things start to kind of cool off and get back to normal. It's almost like we prefer to do it that way at this point.
That's
I thought Colson. I was like, wait, someone's in my room. I was like, what is it? Hey, Colson.
I was what? Who's that?
That's my girlfriend, Colson.
Oh, okay. Hey. All right. Yeah, Carter. Did you like them?
They're fantastic, and I think it comes from the fact of, when everything just disappeared, like we like we were talking about before, like, we try to be appreciative of every show we get to play in front of people and stuff, but when you do it all the time, you can kind of start to take it for granted. And vice versa, from people going out to see shows, like all of a sudden it was just bam, it disappeared. And so then we can like bring this show to people's houses, and they're just so much more meaningful, because people are like people are getting like very emotional in some cases, like, I haven't seen music in 8 months, and like, this is just amazing. We're like, we played awful. That's like, but it just means a lot.
Please tell me you didn't tell them that.
No. Like in my head, I'm like, man, I couldn't hear anything tonight, because this is the nature of setting up our own sound. But then people are just.
Are you kind of like that? Are you like that a lot with shows?
No, but you I guess when you do it all the time, you have a higher standard than probably just the average person going to a Futurebird show. If that's what you mean, like a standard of like the sound and playing and stuff like that.
Well, just sometimes you can just have think that you just didn't sound that good. I just was wondering if that was something that you kind of struggle with sometimes.
I think we're naturally more critical of ourselves than other people are, we're hard on ourselves just by default. I think maybe anyone's like that. Maybe when it comes down to like doing something that you do, that someone does, they're probably more critical of their performance than someone else.
Well, you're at every show too, so you have a better.
Exactly. We were there for the worst and the best ones, so we're comparing them all.
But you do have to be kind of conscious of that too, because you can't go down the rabbit hole of nitpicking everything, and then you kind of lose focus of why you really should be doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
Right, especially with those. Talk to me about that feeling of just kind of, does that harken back to your earlier days in being closer to just having that closer contact with the fans, having just more interaction, but being on a smaller scale? Is that something that kind of rings true for you guys?
For sure. I think we've been we've always been pretty conscious of like being there for the fans, being in contact with the fans, even when we're playing bigger venues and stuff. But yeah, I'd say actually, like, we had kind of been prepping for this for a long time. Womack and I were doing a lot of living room shows, and we as a full band, we were no strangers to playing in people's houses or backyards, and doing kind of stuff.
Small crowds.
Yeah, more along those lines. So we kind of were in a unique spot to be able to do this during this pandemic,
Yeah.
But yeah, it does harken back to like the original days of like, we're playing music to have a good time with people, to connect with folks, and the whole deal.
Definitely.
It is more cut and dry from that aspect. It's not like, how's the promotion for the show? Do we make an Instagram post about it coming into town? And you get caught up in like the minutia stuff that's very important for like touring and playing theaters, but that stuff kind of is just out the windows, and just yeah, it's about the experience itself.
Boils it down to what's more important, arguably, about a show, which is
Yeah. Is that so? It's a little bit more of a pure experience.
I would say so for sure. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Very raw, very organic, and a whole lot of fun for sure.
Yeah.
Do you even sort of like it more, or just like it different?
Okay, Josh, I'm going to tell you, yes, we like it more. Okay, truth's out. We definitely miss playing venues, but I would say that there are so many things about the backyard shows there that are preferable, just because like the people everyone there are true fans, because I mean they wouldn't come to someone's backyard and see a band that they're not stoked about. So they treat you right. You don't have to worry about Waters being backstage or like whatever that. It's just they take care of you, and it's just one big. It's like it's great. It's great. It's like a family reunion almost. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah, we're very lucky that we actually have like cool people that like the band. So they're actually fun. They're fun to hang out with.
Could you imagine if you didn't like your fan?
Like,
you didn't like, God, I don't like our fans.
I know. Yeah. I mean, at the beginning of all this, we definitely didn't see this as the direction it was going in, but it kind of fell into place, and we realized that we had a lot of things we lucked out in a lot of ways, just, from like Carter said, doing the living room shows and stuff like that. And just, even to getting the record out when we did, because it was, almost, a blessing in disguise, for lack of a better word.
I know,
because
it was my super early lockdown album for sure.
Yeah. Well, we were sitting on it for 2 years, and, we were shopping around trying to do the whole old school way of doing things. I got to get a label, got to do this and that and that. And then we were sitting around and we were like, you know what? Our fans are already singing the words to these songs, and we haven't, because we were playing them live because we were sitting on it for 2 years. We were playing them live. People knew the words, they knew the names of it, and I was like, "What are we waiting on? Like, let's reach out to our fan base. Let's raise money through them through a pre-order, and let's just do it all ourselves." And that's exactly what we did, and it worked. And at that point, we were really like, okay, now we're on to the next wave of how we're going to do things, and like. The fact that it took so long to kind of get the record out was almost a blessing in disguise, because it wouldn't have come out that way, and we wouldn't have facilitated and reiterated the Bird fam, in the way that we did had it not gone that way. It was like right before the pandemic, it's like, here's teamwork, and it's like we slid under the closing door, and it, just in time. And it's like, oh yeah, and by the way, remember all those living room shows we've been doing? Well, that's good, because now our fans are kind of accustomed to the idea of having us in their living rooms, and so it's like it kind of just segued into all that. Like we're really lucky that everything worked out the way it did, because 2020 for us really was just it was way better because of all that. We were really lucky, like so many of our friends kind of were stranded, but we it kept the wind under our wings to be able to do that. So
yeah. I totally agree. I think it was very propitious release date, and it was what it was. You guys didn't know the pandemic was coming, know?
No, we totally lucked out with that.
I did.
Serendipitous.
But it got.
I did.
God, shit, Carter. It was you bastard.
Yeah, sorry.
What are y'all's favorite bands? Just kind of like a random question. I mean, because just speaking to your style of play, the Southern rock stuff. What is that?
We're big.
Is there kind of ballet, multiple screen ballet going on right now? Is you guys making fun of me?
Oh no! It's like we
I'm having a heart attack trying to answer that question.
I think we all like the Grateful Dead a lot, and we all like 90s pop country a lot, and we like the Rolling Stones. We like of course, all the standard 70s classic rock, Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Grateful Dead, the psychedelic movements, all that stuff. We like it all. Like Flying Burrito Brothers, we love the Cosmic Americana scene.
Right on.
I mean, honestly, we don't like to limit ourselves. We accept anything that like me personally, I'm a sucker for a pop hook, and it's like I give credit where it's due. If it's catchy, it's catchy. So sometimes I listen to things that not everyone else would be listening to, but I mean, like Taylor Swift, for an example, But I mean,
okay, fair enough.
Right?
I'm a huge fan of the National, so I have been actually listening to her last two albums.
Oh, nice, yeah, right on. But Swiftie for life. But I mean, but what we listen to a lot of different things, man. From singer John Prine, love singer-songwriter, Texas singer-songwriter stuff.
Right.
I mean,
what's on heavy rotation in the van, and who controls the music?
whoever's
all over the
driving.
place to-
Who's
yeah,
ever
whoever's-
driving?
Whoever's driving or sitting shotgun.
Yeah. If we're hearing a lot of Willie and Doug Som, it's probably B Miles driving. If we're in the mountains and we hear Grateful Dead, it's probably Carter driving. Let's see what else.
There you go. Maybe live stream coming up,
Yeah.
memorializing the 50th anniversary of Working Man's and American Beauty, something like
Man,
that.
I really wanted
yeah,
to do that.
those-
I actually
those,
did.
Those releases are awesome, and I don't know if you've listened to the podcast, the good old Grateful Dead podcast, where they break down each song and like how they came to be and the stories going on behind them, and it's
Oh yeah,
it's a
yeah.
good listen.
All right, I'll give it a listen.
Yeah.
Maybe have you guys seen? There's a old VH1 video from like probably 20 years ago about the making of American Beauty, which is really fascinating. About how, they came out. There was just so much pressure on them to come up with this album, and
Right.
they talked to the head of Warner Brothers. You should check that out. It's pretty cool.
Very cool, yeah. Is that one of those
Yeah,
legendary albums? Docs?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but it's kind of like a super good one.
Killer.
But we were talking about the van. Now I was watching the video, and you talk about gas. You make a point of talking about gas stations.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking like, why are you guys laughing?
We're laughing. We're laughing because our doc guy, Animal, who we love, Animal. He that was his idea. He's our documentary guy. The guy that he filmed that and directed it for us, and he really wanted us to talk about the gas stations for some reason. He's like, well, just talk about the gas stations because
It makes sense.
yeah,
It makes
Yeah.
sense.
and it was like, after we did it, it was like, you know what, like you were right on that vision about the gas stations. I guess that is the one time we kind of can get out and stretch our legs and occupy our minds.
Yeah,
Somewhere,
he's
I guess.
he's a
well,
super
it's-
talented dude and a great friend, but he like gets something in his head, and that's the thing. And so we definitely didn't have the final vision on it. He's like, we're stopping at a gas station. Like, hold on, and he'd get out of the van, like half a mile ahead of us, and sprint down to the gas station to film us pulling in. We're like, dude, something's up with Animal, man.
But
yeah.
yeah. But Wilms, you said something that was interesting. You said it's a good moment to kind of, I don't know, I'm paraphrasing, sort of downshift, but also it's a rare moment of privacy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's one of those things that will get forgot or will be overlooked about a touring lifestyle. Maybe from the outside looking in, it might seem glamorous. You're going all over the place. This is awesome. But then, the in between is what is where the work is. So it's like, sharing beds or whatever. Just like, just like being all up under each other in the van all the time. And you don't really get many, moments of privacy on the road, And at this point, we're all, we've been doing it together so long. It's, we're like family. So we know the, when someone's having a bad day or something, we're like, oh, we don't really have to vocalize it very much. And we don't really rub each other. We don't pry on each other's feelings. Cause I call it the mid-tour blues. They can hit at any point on the tour, It's like, you're just feeling down. It's like one too many fast food meals or something and your brain's not working right. It's like,
Right.
but, and it happens, but, another thing we're grateful for is the amount of time we've spent with each other in those situations that we can kind of make it work. It's like we're lucky for that, I guess. But
I mean, it's about mental health, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Carter, you were going to chime in there for a sec, but yeah, it's about it's a difficult lifestyle, right? And kind of like you can just sort of start nosediving, emotionally at some point, I would imagine. Like, how do you guys? Carter, what are your thoughts on that? How do you kind of avoid that?
I mean,
Besides surrounding yourself with your friends and playing music every night.
it's a slippery slope, and when it starts to tank, it can tank real fast, in terms of just the headspace. But I think it is a matter of us just having done it so long. We're very wary of it and of each other and each other's headspace, and so whereas things like selfishness or complaining or bad vibes, like these things spread really quick, and
Yeah,
you
can be
see that
contagious.
it's like
Right.
it's totally magnified from the case of being in a band, because like Womack said, we're always on top of each other. You don't have your own space. You know, privacy is a luxury on tour a lot of times, and so yeah, it is like it's a group mentality of like, yeah, someone's like clearly like going through something today, like, well, the rest of us are gonna do our best to keep the bar up, and then and then tomorrow it'll be me, and you're just looking out for each other, really, is what it comes down to. So yeah, it is crucial to have the right crew of people that have each other's backs in that respect.
For sure.
Yeah. Woms.
I agree with Carter 100%. But I mean, we've been doing this so long. We stay out of each other's way when we need to, So.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you guys are a very unique collection of personalities, and you're similar but different. It seems like you guys, and that's always good to have. Kind of, it can be. Sometimes you can butt heads with people, but if there's the right group of differing personalities with the same scope, it seems that that's something that's a good thing in a group, or with anybody that you're hanging out with, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, that kind of harkens back to why we called the last record Teamwork. It's because like, whereas
exactly.
a lot of times we'd been trying to, and we're talking interpersonally here, but also like artistically, and like, hold on, we need to like make sure this sounds like we're all on the same page in what we're doing. It's like, no, what makes us who we are, like what makes us unique, is the fact that we do have all these different people that offset each other in what we're doing, and that totally also applies in the van and just hanging out. I'm glad we have Thomas on board, because he won't hesitate to let a concierge at a hotel or a promoter have it if someone's doing us wrong or whatever. But I don't know. It is.
Oh, he's your hammer. He's the hammer for you guys?
He's amazing too. He's tour manager, and he's the strong arm.
Oh, he tour manages for you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's not his choice necessarily, but he handles most.
He was voted in. He had no choice.
It's just by default. It's like it wouldn't be done as well with anyone else. So it's just like
right.
Yeah, and
How do you guys
even if someone else was doing it, he'd be like, God, you're doing this all wrong. Just let me do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
So you might as well just give him the reins, and
exactly.
you don't have to fucking hear that.
Yeah, that fell into place naturally 10 years ago.
A decade ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So Woms, what's your role?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know why they keep me in this band. Honestly, man, I don't know.
No, he's out of here.
I think it's probably easier for me to describe Womack's role, than to describe mine.
That's now you're playing the interviewer. That's a way better way to do this. All right, so what's Woms in the band for you?
Womack is vibe master, energy master on stage, like you're saying, leading the charge. Like he'll set the energy level for an evening. Like, oh damn, dude, Womack's doing the two-step. Like I gotta.
See, that's a lot of responsibility. I don't know if I want that.
Damn. Sorry, man. It's been decided.
It's over, man. It's been decided. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Woms, what about Carter?
I mean, Carter's the ringleader of the band. I mean, he's ultimately this. I mean, I guess I was the first member besides Carter of the Futurebirds. We were playing a show downtown Athens, Georgia, of course, at Tasty World, RIP. And our band, it was our first band, Angico, and I loved the band, still do, but we were terrible. We broke the band up that night, and Carter came up to me pretty much right after we broke the band up, and he's like, all right, we're gonna start another band, and you're gonna be in it. And I was like, all right, sweet, we get to play downtown some more. All right, let's do it. We were probably sophomores in college at that point, but so I mean, and in a lot of ways, I mean, Carter's the front man of the band, and I followed his leadership most of the way. So I guess that's how I look at Carter. And I guess in terms of like the band. I don't really know, man. Put me on the spot, Josh,
Thanks,
and now
man.
I'm embarrassed.
No, I appreciate what you've said so far.
No, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, before it goes downhill, like let's just leave it there.
You just
let me stop
just
it.
wind up,
yeah.
wind him up, and he'll just he just goes after it.
But
All right, I gotta ask you just this one. I want to talk a little bit about some COVID streaming and things that you're doing, but I want to ask you about the collab. I'm a My Morning Jacket fan, so I wanted to ask about the collab with Carl and Powderfinger. How did that come about, and why was that so fucking awesome, dude?
Were you there for that Sunday show where we did that?
No, I was not at that.
Okay. Oh yeah, that was in Denver, not Chicago. Sorry.
Yeah. I'll travel. Dude. Had I known he was, I should have come down there, but.
Yeah,
that's just a favorite. That's a favorite song. Talk to me about that.
That was just another like cosmic alignment kind of thing. But our manager set up some like recording sessions, some like laid back recording sessions with Carl at his place in Nashville.
We're talking Carl Bramel.
Yeah,
Carl Bramel, My Morning Jacket.
Yeah, and so we hung out at his house for a couple days and worked on some new tunes and just had a really great time and we shall get back to doing that too and finish some songs. Like we were on some cool stuff with him and it was just like really fun working with him, like a very easy flow, which isn't always the case. But then just so happened we added a third Sunday night show in Denver when we were on that camp tour. And the camp shows sold out, so we were like, let's do something on the day off. And just so happened that Carl was touring with
Steelism?
No, he was touring with Ray LaMontagne, I think.
With Ray.
Yeah,
okay,
I think he's playing guitar.
Right.
And he just texted and was like, hey, y'all in Denver too? Like, so we went and got lunch that day, and he's like, man, I think I should be done with the show by 10, so... we're like, well, bring your guitar over to the venue if you want to come play something. And he kept getting set back. I was texting him on stage, and we're playing. We ended up playing for like I think a solid 3 hours because we're like, we'll just string it out till Carl can get here.
Right. He had to take like 2
I was
Ubers
gonna say like I didn't
think Carl with his guitar.
Wow.
So.
That's awesome.
I was like, hey, how's it coming? He's like, about to get in the car. Quit texting on stage. Fair enough.
Yeah, right. Okay, so he gets there, and what did you know you were going to do Powderfinger, or who threw that out there?
Sorry, it just broke up on me.
Yeah. No, did you know you were going to do Powderfinger, or who did you just throw that out there? Was that game time call?
He had. I think we knew the Powderfinger was going to be the one we did. He played with us. So after those recording sessions, we played this thing in Nashville, this outdoor show, and he came and sat in. He played some pedal steel actually, and then we closed out with a Powderfinger where he just annihilated the guitar. It was pretty. It's amazing to be that close to the amp when he's doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, when you guys got down on your knees and were just like bowing to him at that show, I just saw like there was just a couple fan videos. What kind of stream? I mean, you've been doing the backyard parties. You've been doing streams during this time, or where are you guys at with that? And what? And is that something that figures into like how we're gonna go forward during this during 2021 before we kind of get back to even limited capacity shows? What are your views on all that? Like streaming and where you're going to be, like limited capacity shows, etc.
Yeah, we were already talking about kind of implementing streaming into the live set, even I feel like way before the pandemic, But at that point, it was just kind of like an idea, and but then we kind of had to there for a while. We just started live streaming. Everyone was live streaming, and in some of the backyard shows, we actually have just kind of live streamed them, and it's been great. But it's definitely something that we're going to implement moving forward, and it's going to be something that's happens more often for sure. Just there's a lot of cool things that go along with live streams. I mean, it's cool. It's just a way for everyone to get together and talk. I mean, if you can't get to not everyone can make every show, obviously. So, I mean, everyone can, get on the internet and hang out and watch a show though. So it's pretty cool. And it kind of evolved into this whole, like, everyone, just a big hangout basically, which is like what you want, of course. You know,
Right.
everyone's just everyone's
Yeah.
chatting and hearting and emoji and just
Right.
and
Right.
throwing out inside jokes. It's great.
Yeah, and we're talking about going forward too, or like why, even fast forwarding to when we can like really go on tour again. It's like, why force a show on a Tuesday night in like a strange town where it's not going to be a great show, and we could like post up in an Airbnb and just live stream online and hang out with fans and play new songs and do an acoustic set, and it's just, it's really opened the doors a lot more.
That's interesting. So kind of instead of making that 12-hour drive to the next town, just stay kind of where you are and kind of intersperse those sort of experiences in a broader tour that you'd be doing.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. And like, Tuesday night when people would rather stay in anyway, it's like, why not just bring the show to them, to their
or a Sunday. We were in Texas recently for like a week, and we set up one night and just did a stream, and just set a Venmo up, and people can tip if they want to, type of thing. And it's fun because it's kind of we don't really have to go anywhere, and the viewer doesn't have to go anywhere either, obviously. But I think, with the pandemic, though, it kind of familiarized everyone with the concept of watching a stream show. Of course, Nugs existed before the pandemic and people were already, but it was like, it became like a common thing, It's just like now moving forward, I think it'll be a lot easier to kind of get it done just because it's such a normal part of how we do shows these days, So that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even more, it's brought into the light, really, the emphasis and the need for fans to get in front, to just interact in the context of a band, and vice versa, really, right? I mean, do you find streams, and, well, if you were in an environment where there is a live chat, like a YouTube or something, or Twitch or some kind of environment like that, do you guys find yourself interacting with fans, and where do you sort of stand on that?
Oh yeah, we love it.
Carter, you're laughing.
Yeah, like maybe more than we should sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like yeah.
Okay, there's a story there. What's going on?
That's one of the I think one of the most valuable parts of it is the whole fan interaction that goes along with live streaming, and it's fun. It's a great way to engage,
Yeah. Carter, how do you feel about it? And why did you open your mouth too much once or something?
No. I was just joking, but yeah. So a few of the full band live streams we've done, aren't actually live. We filmed them the day before and had them edited.
Yeah.
And then you put them online, and then we'll get in the chat, and as the hours pass, and everyone's having drinks or whatever, it's like maybe I should put the keyboard away.
Do we want to rewatch this set, or are we just gonna post it?
But no, it's and it relates back to the fact that we just like enjoy hanging out with the people that enjoy our band, and they're really funny, and so it's entertaining as hell to get on these chats while we're playing, and it's like. It's all love and support, a little bit of roasting or whatever. At one point, B Miles wasn't getting enough camera time, so now there's a B Miles fan page on the internet somewhere that someone started just as the show was going on. It was like, okay, it started. Here's the link, and people started following it. It's just, it's a great. It's a really good time. Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like you guys are totally roastable. I don't know why that is.
Look at us.
You probably hear that.
I'm easily roastable, for sure. Yeah. But
well, you guys hang it out there, man. You hang it out there. You got great personalities. You love the fans, You wear I believe that you guys wear your hearts on your sleeves, and that's an awesome thing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah. So what are the plans, what are you guys hearing? What are you feeling about getting back out in front of audiences?
I mean, can't wait, Yeah. But at the same time, I think we're gonna make sure that we're intentional about like holding on to this. Like we had this kind of, for lack of a better word, like amazing experience through this pandemic of having these backyard shows and stuff. So Like, I think it would be easy just to like, okay, all the venues are open, business as usual, just plug it back in the same way we're doing it. So I think, it's just up to us to really hold on to that and make sure we're still applying that mentality and that thing to the shows going forward. Yeah. And other plans, we're just working on new music right now, which is like the best place to be. I feel like that zone of, getting together and writing and making demos. And in a couple days we're meeting up in North Carolina. We rented a big farmhouse Airbnb and just gonna let it hang out for a couple weeks and see what comes out of it. So.
Right on. So you plan on doing that, or you've already done that?
No, yeah, we're doing that in a couple days. If I'm not iced in Nashville.
Yeah, right. Bring the tire chains.
I'll
man.
Walk. I'll be there.
Snowshoe. You'll snowshoe. So you've got material, or you're working on things. You got ideas, and then how's that process look for you guys? You guys get together in the same room, hash stuff out, jam, play. What does that look like?
Well, yeah. Recently, we got together in a spot in Augusta, Georgia, for like a week, and that was the first writing session that we've had in that capacity, where we all just kind of get together and like start from scratch. That it's the first time we've done that in a long time, and I feel like we're really caught a flow, and that kind of is the reason we're getting together in another few days, because we had such a great time. We were like, this is something moving forward, especially with how the times are. Once a month at least, we're going to get together in a spot and just basically a touch base. We'll write, we'll do whatever, we'll create content, we'll just basically touch base and align our frequencies, and so moving forward, that's kind of how we plan on doing it, like getting together, because of course we had our own stuff because we're always writing, and so we'll get together and be like, well, I was kind of working on this one, or I had this one we could work on, but that session in particular, the last one where we got together, was the first time in a long time where we got together and we're just like, all right, let's see what happens. Let's write. And I think, super excited about where it went and the stuff we were coming up with. I don't think we've written this good ever, honestly. I think this is the best we've ever written.
Awesome.
And I think our visions are aligned. Everyone's in a good spot and we're feeling great. And I feel like we're the best version of the band we've ever been currently right now, which is part of the reason, again, why we're getting together. Again, we're doing it and we're going to just keep going. And, super stoked for what's going on. For sure.
Agreed.
Yeah, really, man. Carter, you're so lucky to have this kind of energy always along with you, man.
Yeah.
Fucking Mr. Positivity, man. That's the most positive attitude I've heard of a band coming out of just COVID on this side.
Oh,
man.
really? Dude, that's awesome to hear.
I bet not talk to every fucking band, but all right, I'm not going to compare. I'm just going to say that's an awesome positive attitude, and that gets me psyched, man.
Thanks, man. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, be psyched, because it's cool. I'm super stoked.
Awesome. How does that happen that you feel like you're writing the best you ever have coming out of this fucked up time? Is it just is it in spite of the fucked up time, or is it because of the fucked up time?
Maybe it's hard to say. A little bit of both. At this point, we've been doing it for so long, and it's like we've spent a lot of time at home doing nothing but playing and just writing, basically. And just with how well 2020 turned out, it kind of kept the fire burning under us. And it was such a great year to reflect and express gratitude for the things that you do have. And that was one thing 2020 did for us, for sure. For me personally, was like, wow, we've got a lot of great things that are happening for us, and there are a lot of silver linings about this 2020, and we're in a way better spot than most everybody our level is in right now, and for that I'm grateful. And and then we get together and everyone's feeling great and we're writing stuff that we're all stoked about, and it's kind of hard to not be stoked about it at that point.
I feel like
great. This is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I feel like there's been a number of times throughout the pandemic where we've kind of been like, maybe we should like tamper down our positivity right now.
Right. Yes.
Like,
not everyone's having
audience.
a great time right now.
We can't be the guys out there and be like, this pandemic's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. That's when you take another shot.
Yeah. But no, it has.
Well, Carter, you're.
No,
Tell me.
I'm right there with Womack, and I think that's everyone else in the band is too. and I don't think it's either in spite of or against or whatever the pandemic, but the perspective definitely shifted a little bit, or like we had this perspective, but then the pandemic really put it in view for us, and we're like, oh wait, actually, like we're set up, like we're luckier than most every other band out there right now.
Yeah.
And so it's hard not to be positive or grateful in that respect, but yeah.
In what respect do you think why do you feel lucky?
So when we had to cancel that tour in March, and we were going home, and we were convincing ourselves that we were infected and everything, and then we're thinking about we're like, man, we're not like we solely rely on this band for income and everything, but we're not big enough to where we have tour insurance and things like that. And it's like, okay, we could be like totally, this might be awful. This might be really, really bad, because what would we do? Like if we got home, if everything blew up, we'd go get jobs at a restaurant. It's like, well, that's not going to happen. So like we might be really screwed. But then as we kind of re-geared and we're like, all right, we gotta make a way through this. We started really realizing how awesome and supportive like our fan base was, and our people and our community. And then we were like, man, we are in this special spot to where, a band bigger than us, I don't think could do these backyard shows, because if it got out that My Morning Jacket was playing in your neighbor's backyard, people would be crawling over the fences to get in, but we're also big enough to where we have, like a level of, there's a base level of people that can support us doing something like that. So yeah, we're in this special spot that we're stoked to be in, because it's kind of, we're still operating totally within our own control. We're not working for a bigger record label or a bigger promotion company or whatever. We're really like we kind of run our own game, and we're very lucky to be able to do so.
Yeah, it's the indie band Futurebirds sweet spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly,
for sure. Yeah.
It's also about being grateful for what you have and where you're at, without being regretful of not being in another place which you couldn't fucking do anything about anyway, because you are in the place that you are.
That's zen as hell, my dude. Yeah,
Totally.
Right? I mean, Carter, you've talked about also like being intentional about stuff. That's another thing that I picked up on the videos, that you mentioned something about, that you guys that you want to be intentional about the experience. Now, I think in that sense, you were just talking about touring and being outside and just all that kind of fun shit. But is that something that figures into your philosophy and the way you kind of operate on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not just me. It's all of us. That's a group mind that we have, and it came from a lot of years where we were just kind of letting things happen, and letting those letting the bad side of things rear up, and getting depressed and down and everything about what was happening, and why aren't we getting this, and why isn't this happening, and it's like, well, it's it was a very intentional flipping of how we saw things, kind of in the recording sessions before the Portico EPs that were the first sessions for the Teamwork stuff. Which was the last time that we were kind of writing in the sense that Womack's talking about, where we just like got together and we're like, let's see what happens, and I got this bit of this song, and let's see what we can do when we put all our heads together. And so it was this like kind of special time of re-gearing our perspective. And so I think since then we've been very like, there are things in your control, there are things out of your control. So let's focus on the things in our control and the things that we're stoked about, rather than the things that we wish were happening, or that we,
Yeah, it's obvious. Womack, you agree?
Oh yeah, totally. I think the Portico sessions, the sessions he's referencing, we released Portico 1 and Portico 2, but when we were planning those sessions, we were like, we're gonna record, we're gonna get together and record some demos, or maybe even a record, and we're not gonna focus on being fancy or anything. We're just gonna kind of go out and have fun, mainly because I was like, we're not having fun anymore right now. We're focusing on the wrong things. It's like we used to have so much fun when we were writing. Let's go do that again. And like one of the first songs we came up with, it was, we just immediately started writing. And after we released it, it had the biggest splash of anything up until that point that we had. And we were like, wow, we did this in a cheap way that worked for us, and we had fun, and we did what we wanted to do, and it worked. And that was the first instance where we proved that we were capable of doing that. So it wasn't, at that point, it was almost like we knew we could take control of of our work and stuff, and not have to rely on everyone else. That was the very, very beginning of what would eventually be the whole idea of teamwork and DIY and true indie band was the Portico sessions. And we proved to ourselves that we could do it, and it worked. We're like, all right, well, let's keep doing this. Then there was a little hiccup with teamwork trying to do the whole shopping it and doing all that, but we talked about earlier how that ended up being a blessing in disguise, because 2 years later we were like, well, we've got the fan base, let's do the let's raise money ourselves, and let's just do it all ourselves and see if it works. And
full DIY,
absolutely.
even like direct to the customer,
exactly,
so to speak, right?
Exactly, yeah. So, for sure.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you guys did such a great job with that, and I'm so stoked to hear you've got that you're working on new materials, and that's all good stuff.
Yeah,
man. And I love that you're the positive vibe that you guys that you both exude is palpable even through this stupid little digital box that we're talking through.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks, Josh.
Hopefully the next time, yeah, man. Really appreciate you both, and love the tunes, and I want to thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, it's been really quite enjoyable, and hopefully we'll see you in Chicago pleasure. Soon at a real show.
I hope
live
so,
and in
man.
person.
I hope so. Yeah,
I'll come 3D.
I'll come see you guys. I'll come see you guys on the road somewhere too, for sure, man.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, you guys. Thanks for joining me on Roadcase. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone, that was Danny Womack and Carter King of Futurebirds. Loved the opportunity to talk to these guys. Want to thank them again for joining me on Roadcase. They've got such a great attitude about what's going on with COVID. I mean, they had a new album that came out in early 2020 that kind of, as to hear them say it sort of set them up for their life during quarantine, and being able to play those records and play the songs for their fans during this period, either online or in backyard parties. They kind of felt that really set them up well, and they got a great attitude, and I love Womack's enthusiasm and Carter's really kind of interesting insight, especially into to mental health on tour, and living in the moment and living with intention. These guys kind of have an interesting roadmap, and touring and playing in front of their fans is clearly the most important thing for these guys. So I wish them well as they go forward. They talked about getting into the studio over the next couple of weeks right here and working on some new material. So I'm looking forward to hearing that in the near future, and good luck to them in getting back on the road. As with everybody, it's been a difficult period, especially for touring bands, but they saying they're loving doing their backyard parties. So I wish them good luck with that, and I hope to see them out on the road very soon. So I want to thank everyone out there for joining me here on Roadcase. I want to thank again Daniel Womack and Carter King of Futurebirds, and thanks for joining me on Roadcase. Thanks again so much for listening, and I'd like to encourage everyone to get involved with Roadcase. You can do so in a number of different ways. You can email me at info@roadcasepod.com with questions, comments, and even suggestions for guests. Or you can follow us on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We're at Roadcase Pod, and we have a YouTube channel called Roadcase Podcast. And if you are able to and like to support Roadcase, we have a Patreon site at patreon.com/roadcasepod. And of course, you can subscribe to this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And if you could please rate and review the podcast while you're there, that would be great. So I want to thank Walter for this awesome theme music that we have. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in and listening to Roadcase. We have a lot of great episodes coming up, so I'll see you on down the road.